So you might have seen me share some of my football trades on social media, some of the trades that you can see on the screen right now. And if you've seen any of these green screens, the chances are that these profits were produced by using some sort of variation of the trading strategy that I'm going to talk about in this video today. And that is the football trading strategy of laying the winning team. So this video is going to cover my favorite football trading strategy of all. And if you want to make it in football trading, then this is the #1 skill that you need to master. Forget everything else. If you can get good at this, then you will easily be successful. So there's pure football trading gold in this video. And coming up, I'm going to give you a quick step-by-step strategy overview of a very basic version of laying the winning team, just so you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm going to be telling you why most traders fail with this strategy. I mean, it's not a unique concept, laying the winning team, but most traders fail with this totally. And I'm going to be telling you why they fail and what you can do about it. I'm also going to be telling you the best way to use this strategy. I'm going to be giving you the secret behind picking winning trades. I've written one secret there, but I'm probably going to give you more than one in this video coming up. And of course, I'm going to give you some live trading demonstrations on the Betfair interface, and there is quite a lot. There is quite a lot to get through. So you are definitely in for a treat with this video. And before we get started, if you haven't yet downloaded it, then do check out this football trading success plan. Lots have found this very helpful. It is free to download. The link is in the description. Okay, let's get into it. So let me just explain the idea behind the whole laying the winning team strategy, especially for those who are new or unfamiliar with football trading, because a lot of people might get confused and think we are talking about laying the winning team and then just leaving it. That is not the case at all. As football traders, we're looking to do something a little bit different. So as football traders, what we're doing is laying the team that is winning by a single goal, and that is quite key as well. That is, we're laying a team that is only winning by one goal, a 1-goal gap. We're not laying teams that are 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 goals ahead. We're just laying the team that is leading by a single goal with a view to profiting from the price swing if or when they concede an equalizer. So commonly, this is going to involve laying the underdog when they are winning, since they are far more likely to concede an equalizer. So it is a pretty common football trading strategy. You have a team like Man City, they're at home, they're playing against a team from lower down the league like Brighton. Brighton take the lead. You lay Brighton because they're at lower odds. Man City equalise, and then Brighton's odds shoot back up, and you can profit pretty easily from that, from the price swing. So that is the idea behind it as football traders. And to a novice, I mean, this idea might sound a little bit crazy to lay a team that is actually winning the match already. But let me show you a quote which might be of interest to you. Warren Buffett once said, "Be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy only when others are fearful." If you don't know who Warren Buffett is, then maybe this isn't the right video for you, but definitely go and Google him to know exactly who he is. But this is exactly what we're doing with this particular trading technique. Now, when a team takes the lead in football, you're going to see their odds shorten, right? Their odds are going to go a lot shorter than their starting price. And then if you watch the markets carefully, you're going to see money piling in for the team that is winning. The majority of this money is backing the team at the much shorter odds. So, I mean, the average punter just figures that because they're leading the match, they're more likely to win. And in most cases, yeah, of course, they are more likely to win. But they just pile on. They just pile on at the low odds, and it's more out of greed than anything. It's totally out of greed. They're not really taking into account the mathematics of the situation. And so this is the time for an educated trader to step back and be fearful, because everyone's being greedy. So really, we need to be fearful. We need to stick to what Warren Buffett is advising us here, and because everyone's being greedy, wanting to back that team at really low odds, that's when we should be a little bit more fearful and a bit more cautious. Since probably the best time to back that team was before they scored the goal, right? That was the best time to back them. It wasn't after they scored the goal. So anyway, when this happens, and as you've might have identified if you've watched any of the videos on this channel, we're always looking to go against the markets. We're looking to do the opposite of what everyone is doing, and in this case we want to do what everyone else is afraid of doing. Okay, they would the average punter would be very fearful of laying a winning team. That's the average novice punter. They wouldn't want to lay the winning team. They would be fearful of that. So if anything, that means that we need to be greedy. The average punter just doesn't like to oppose teams that are already winning. The average punter wants to bet on strong favourites and have a high strike rate. I mean, you only have to look at social media to see the amount of average punters who are backing the short odds favourites week in, week out. We just try and do the opposite of that. Now, if you look at the Betfair market, when a team takes the lead, I mean, you're going to see bets piling in to back that team at a much shorter price, even all the way down to 1.01. There are people out there who back prices at 1.01. So, when all these teams are being, when all these punters are being greedy, that's when we should be fearful, and that is when we should try and do the opposite of what they're doing. Now, obviously, we're not going to do this blindly. We're not just going to lay a Barcelona or Man City when they're leading by a goal just because everyone else is backing them. It's not as simple as that, but I'm sure you get a good idea of the principle behind this quote. So be fearful when everyone else is being greedy, but be greedy when everyone else is being fearful. So now you have a good idea of the principle behind this trading approach. Let me get into the actual basic strategy in a little bit more detail, because some people are going to misunderstand what we're doing here. And it is important to remember, we're not saying the team winning is not actually going to win the match. You see, they might still go on and win the match. But when we're entering the trade with this strategy, what we're saying is we think they're going to concede the lead at some point. A team could be leading by a single goal. They could be leading 1-0. And then it could go to 1-1, and then they could still win the match and win 2-1, 3-1, even 5-1. But what we're saying is that they are going to concede the lead, and that's going to cause the odds movement that we want, which is going to allow us to lock in a profit. So the basic strategy is that we're going to basically look for a team that is leading by a single goal. We have a reason to believe that they are going to concede an equaliser. And then once they concede an equaliser, I've written when they score an equaliser, but when they concede an equaliser, we cash out for a profit across all outcomes, and that gives us a guaranteed green screen profit. Now, if the team we've opposed, if the team that is winning then goes on to double their lead, or if they haven't conceded an equaliser by a certain point in the match, then we're going to exit for a loss and we're going to have to take a red screen. This is the most basic strategy, and to be honest, I think one of the main reasons a lot of novices go wrong with this strategy is because of this second part. It is their exit point when it doesn't quite arrive. Now, it's great when you get in the market and you get the equaliser, you just take the instant profit. But a lot of novices start to go wrong and panic and do all sorts of crazy stuff when the goal doesn't arrive. When the goal doesn't arrive. So let me just show you a quick basic example. There are going to be some live trading demonstrations a bit later in the video as well. But here's a match. It was Kosovo against Denmark. We got Kosovo leading here 2-1 against Denmark. We've got reason to believe that Kosovo are going to concede an equaliser. It's the 85th minute of the match. We lay Kosovo here. £100 stake is £23 of risk in the market. And so we've laid them, and then in injury time, they have conceded an equaliser and it's gone to 2-2. And then we've locked in a profit all across all the outcomes. So from that point on, it doesn't matter if Kosovo then go on and score another one and win the match 3-2, because we've already made the profit. We've already achieved what we're looking to achieve. So let me quickly show you that. It was a lay at 1.24 and then a pretty big price swing all the way up to 17.5. And you can see it there. You can kind of see it on this chart as well. That is that is basically it. Now, one of the key things to keep in mind about this is that, remember, Kosovo had a starting price of around 10 to 1. I think that's where they started the match. Either way, it's pretty high odds. Now, I mean, we could have laid them at the start of the match, but laying a price of 10 to 1 is pretty expensive. But by waiting until they were leading, we got to lay them at 1.23, which is one hell of a discount. And it does show you why this strategy can be pretty powerful when it is used correctly. So the strategy of laying the winning team, it is not actually anything new. It is a pretty common approach to football trading, and chances are that if you're watching this video, you've got some experience of trading football, you will have used this approach before. However, if you're not long-term successful and profitable with this approach, then there is probably a reason for this, and it's probably because you're making some of the typical novice mistakes that I'm going to get into right here. Now, the novice mistake number one I'm going to talk about is not actually having any sort of awareness of the price that they're laying at. Now, let's just bring up an example of, say, Barcelona. They're playing at home to a team who's bottom of La Liga, like Huesca. But Huesca were like 20 to 1 with their starting price, but they've taken an early surprise lead, and now they're into 8 to 1 to lay. Now, we know that more than likely Barcelona are going to equalise. They're probably going to equalise pretty soon, and then they're going to go on and win the game pretty easily from there. But you have to consider the price at the same time, because laying at 6 to 1, 8 to 1, any of those numbers, I mean, it is literally 6 times your stake. So it's not a great risk-reward ratio, and a lot of novices just go into the market, lay in these underdogs because they're just like, yeah, we know Barcelona, they're going to equalize, so I'm just going to get in the market. Now, yeah, this is going to work the majority of the time, but laying at those high odds, you only need to get it wrong once or twice for it to pretty much wipe out all of your hard work. So you always need to have some sort of awareness of the lay price, and I see a lot of novices just go into the market just saying, yep, Barcelona, they're going to equalise, so let me just get in the market and lay that team. But then, yeah, the odd occasion when the underdog goes on to make it 2-0, or they just hang on to the 1-0, that wipes out all of their hard work. So you always need to take your, or keep your risk-reward ratio into account. Now, if you're comfortable laying at those high prices, then hey, go for it. But I know the majority of people are not going to be confident laying at those high prices. And then following on from that, and it's very similar mistake, is rushing to get into the market for the fear of missing out. Now, it is a very similar mistake. These are almost identical. But, I mean, as the saying goes, only fools rush in. Now, the beautiful thing about football trading is that we know that with time decay, we're going to know the direction the price is going to be moving in. So we know that, going back to that example with Huesca, if they were 8 to 1 taking the lead early on in the game, we know that with time decay and just waiting 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, waiting a bit longer, that price is going to go even shorter. So with a little bit of patience, we can lay them at a price that is even lower risk if we want it, just by having a little bit of patience. But the average novice doesn't have the patience. They have a fear of missing out. And they will say, hey, no, I'm going to take the price that is just there, the 8 to 1 or whatever, because what if Barcelona score and equalise? Then I've missed my opportunity. And again, it is that fear of missing out. Now, my approach would just be like, hey, I don't want to lay Huesca at 8 to 1 or whatever price. I would wait for a much, much lower price. And then I'd get involved. And if the goal goes in the meantime, then it wasn't an opportunity, was it? But yeah, that is, I see a lot of novices making that mistake, rushing into the market when you don't need to rush. The longer you wait, the better the situation, the lower the risk as well, and the more profit you can actually lock in when the equalizer does arrive. And again, another novice mistake is not having any sort of real plan for when the equalizer does not arrive. Now, you saw at the beginning of this video, I did say, hey, look, if you lay an underdog when it's a single goal gap, that underdog makes it a 2-goal gap, then you should exit the market and try and salvage whatever of your stake you can. Now, the typical novice, when that happens, they can kind of freeze like a rabbit in the headlights, and they will kind of, instead of being disciplined and trying to salvage the stake, they might just let it run, or who knows, they might chase it, they might double up. But really, when you're entering any sort of trade, you need to have your exit point, your entry point, your exit point, your plan for what you do when it goes right, and your plan for what you do when it goes wrong. So yeah, I mean, this is a big problem I see a lot of novices have for when it doesn't quite go to plan, and then they just stare at the screen and just let it run all the way down to 1.01. And of course, there might be times when it does go to 1.01 when they double the lead and there's nothing you can do about it. Obviously, you have to keep that into account. But yeah, a lot of novices will just stare at that and then be crossing their fingers, hoping for some miracle comeback, and then they've lost a lot more on that trade than they were planning to lose. Let me give you a quick example, a quick live example of this. Let me just quickly show you something. So there's a bit of a surprise result at the moment in this match between Croatia and Azerbaijan. Croatia just gone a goal down, and Azerbaijan are leading by 1-0. So to the average novice football trader, you'd think, okay, great, this is a great time to lay the winning team, because there's no way Azerbaijan are going to hold on to this 1-0 lead against Croatia. And I would agree that it's not that likely that they're going to hang on to this lead. But you have to look at the odds that we'll be potentially laying at. Azerbaijan, even though they lead by a goal, they're still priced at 7. Let me just bring up the chart just to show you the starting price, which was, I believe they're around 30 to 1 to start this match. Croatia very, very short in this. So at the moment, say I did want to use a £100 stake, then I'm going to be risking £620 of risk in the market to try and win the £100. And it's not a great risk-reward ratio at all. And that is where the average novice often ends up in trouble. They don't even think about the price. They just think, okay, Azerbaijan are leading, there's no way they're going to win this, let me lay Azerbaijan, without even thinking about the price. And then they end up getting into all sorts of bother. So I'm just going to leave that on the screen just to illustrate the type of risk. So if we wanted to get in the market right now to win £100, we'd be risking £620. So obviously what we can do is we could wait until later on in the match when Azerbaijan's odds go a lot lower, maybe when they go down to around evens, ideally, like I said, and then we could get involved, and then I could lay Azerbaijan. So if I was to put that in, and then I'm risking 100 to win 100, and it's a much better risk-reward ratio. But of course, at the same time, will Azerbaijan hang on to their 1-goal lead for long enough for their price to hit evens? Probably not. Probably not. And that is, again, where the average football trader, the average novice anyway, goes wrong, because they have that fear of missing out. They have that fear that the goal is going to go in before they get in the market, and then they've missed out on a profit. And those are the two things which really are affecting them in the long term. Not thinking about the price they're getting in at, and then also having that fear of missing out. Now, for me, if I look at this, I do not want to take laying Azerbaijan at 6.8 as it is right now. I would just wait. I'll just wait until later on in the match. If I can get to lay them at a lower price, then that's great. If a goal goes in the meantime and Croatia equalise, then oh well, doesn't really matter. I mean, it wasn't really an opportunity then, was it? So anyway, that is just a quick example of a time when it might seem like it's ideal to lay the winning team, but you really, really have to think about the price and have to think about the risk-reward ratio of your trade. So we'll see if we can maybe get a trade on this one, if Azerbaijan pull it off and hang on to the 1-0 for a good while. But who knows? 23 minutes gone in this one. Croatia 0, Azerbaijan 1, and no trade at all. And it's ironic because as soon as I stopped recording on that video, Croatia did actually equalise. And that is precisely the example of what I'm talking about, where the average novice in that situation would have seen the equaliser come from Croatia and feel like they missed out on some sort of opportunity. But I explained to you in a video where, to me, it was no opportunity at all. I would much rather have waited until later on in the match and laid Azerbaijan at much lower odds. I definitely wouldn't really want to be laying them at a price of 7. It's quite a high liability, and it puts a lot of pressure on me to get lots and lots of winning trades, because it's not a very favourable risk-reward ratio. So let me just explain my advice on probably the prices you should be looking to lay at when you're laying the winning team. And I would say do not lay higher than 1.99. So look for prices 1.99 or lower. Obviously the lower the better, because then you're always going to be putting yourself in a position where you can potentially win more than you're risking. And that gives you a much easier risk-reward ratio to handle, and it takes all the pressure off having to constantly get winning trades, and you feel less nervous about those potential losing trades when they come. And of course, I'm not saying go in at 1.99. I mean, the lower you go, the better. And be prepared to wait for lower risk prices if you have to. Be patient. Be patient. As I said, only fools rush in. Wait for the lower risk prices. And if a goal goes in the meantime, don't feel like you missed out. That wasn't the price you wanted. So you didn't miss out on anything. It wasn't actually an opportunity. So be prepared to wait. And just going back to that Croatia-Azerbaijan example, let's say Azerbaijan were leading in the final 20 minutes of the match and their price was below 1.99. Again, am I going to get in blindly at 1.99? I'm probably going to maybe even wait for a lower risk price depending on how the match is developing. Now, if Croatia are really on top, looking like they're going to equalize at any point, then yeah, I might get in at 1.99. But if it's still not looking great, I'll wait until I see Croatia really putting on that pressure. And by then, who knows, the price might be 1.59, it might be 1.39. And by waiting and being patient, I've given myself a much lower risk price, and I'm going to get a higher reward if I get the winning trade. And here's another tip, is to, if you're going to use the basic version of this strategy, get out if the winning team then gets the 2-goal lead. Now, if you're approaching this saying that, hey, we're going to lay the winning team, we want to keep it as a 1-goal strategy. So 1 goal goes to the trailing team, then we get out with a profit. But if the winning team doubles the lead, that means we have called it wrong, and we have to accept that we were wrong, and then we should get out and try and salvage whatever stake we can at that particular point. This is what differentiates us between being traders or being regular gamblers. Okay, so at the same time, though, let me just explain something again, that we might also be prepared to let it run to 1.01. okay, and this might sound counterintuitive to what I just said about getting out if there is a 2-goal lead, but when you're laying the winning team, you might not always get the opportunity to get out of the market. There might be times where that winning team scores another goal, and then their price hits 1.01 and you just can't get out of the market. At the same time, there could be a team that is leading late on in the match by a single goal, and the trading team is really pressuring them, and the trading team is looking very likely that they're going to equalize. And in those situations, it is actually better to just let it run all the way down to the 1.01. Because, of course, if you can get the equalizer at the very late stage, this is going to give you the highest possible profit returns. So this is why I say be prepared to let it run to 1.01 when there is the single goal gap as well. So that is that's something to keep in mind. And let me just move on to let's move on to this clip. It is how to pick the winning trades as well. And so some of the best ways to pick the winning trades, it can be by forecasting opportunities beforehand. So use whatever pre-match research methodology you have to find teams that are not likely to hang on to a lead if they get the lead in that particular match. And then you could oppose them if they do take the lead. Now, if they don't take the lead, obviously no opportunity has arisen. But if they do, then an opportunity could be presenting itself. And I remember a few years back, I can't remember exactly what year it was, but I remember Arsenal were a great team to oppose whenever they took the lead. Because one of the main reasons for this is because they are a top team and they were constantly short priced. But there was a period, I think it was around 2010 to maybe 2015, when they would just constantly give away the lead. And it did create great value opportunities. And that's an example of how I would forecast a lot of matches beforehand in those days that involved Arsenal, where I'd say, hey, if Arsenal take the lead, I'm probably going to lay them because they're at this moment in time, they seem very prone to giving away the lead. And you will start to notice trends like that develop. I can't really think of a team at the moment that is similar to that. but you will notice them, and you can forecast opportunities beforehand and just make a little note just to say, hey, look, if this team takes the lead, I want to oppose them at the much shorter price, and then do it if the opportunity arises. And of course, you can use match reading. Now, with match reading, it can be quite easy to spot a winning team that is just about hanging on to their lead. Sometimes it just slaps you in the face where a team is winning, but they're really hanging on to the lead, as in like the trailing team is having shots cleared off the line, the goalkeeper's performing heroics. These are some of the pretty easy opportunities to get involved in, and then you just lay that winning team, and eventually, if or when the goal arrives, you can profit from the price swing. And based on that, here is a pro tip which you can use generally, whether you're watching the match or whether you're not watching the match as well, and that is just basically look for a losing team or the trailing team that is outperforming the winning team. And most likely you're going to find these situations when it is the underdog who is leading by a single goal. You've got the favourite really piling on the pressure. But it can happen on the flip side, as you're going to see in the live demonstrations in a moment. It can happen in the opposite way, where you get the favourite who's winning, but the underdog who's losing is actually playing better than the favourite. And this is a great time to get in the market for a very low risk and high reward trade. But now let's get into some live trading examples of laying the winning team. There is a whole ton of these to sink your teeth into. But before that, I do want to quickly remind you that access to my premium football trading video course, Ultimate Football Trading, is going to be opening up again for general enrollment once again very soon. We only do general enrollment a few times per year. So if you like what you see in these videos and you do want to take your football trading to the next level, then this is for you. You get an instant portfolio of 8 strategies alongside everything you need to move up a level, and it is all presented to you in HD video format. So when the doors open, if you want to sign up to that, then there is a link in the description where you can apply for an invite, as access is only via invite only. So check out the link in the description if you do want to get involved. And yeah, let's get into it. Let's get into some live trading examples of laying the winning team. And so this is a match from the Russian Premier League, and we're going to do this one without any live pictures at all. So Ural, if you can pronounce that correctly, they are leading this match at half-time. It is 1-0 to them. They took the lead just not long before half-time. And yeah, they are the away team. Akhmat Grozny was a pre-match favourite in this one. I'm going to get into that in just a moment. But let's just have a look at the way the first half played out, and you can see that Ural, the leading team. I mean, it's the home team that have just about dominated the possession, but they've had a lot more goal attempts, and 7 attempts on target is a pretty big amount for just the first half. So just based on that, just based on how this match is developing, you would think that that's a bit of a false position that Ural are in right now, and you expect that in the second half it's going to correct. Akhmat are going to equalise, and then we can profit by opposing Ural and laying them. But also you can also look at just the recent form, just to maybe give you a little bit more confidence in it. So we can look at Akhmat in their recent home games, and we can see that, you know what, they've only lost 1 of their last 5 home games. So I mean, based on that, they don't lose at home too often, right? Not to say that it's not going to happen today, of course, but it doesn't happen too often. Ural, on the flip side, they don't win away from home too often. So they've had 1 win in their last 5. So just looking at these stats, it does give you quite a bit of confidence in opposing Ural here. So we could lay them here at 1.86. So they're odds on as well. So that means that we are putting ourselves in a position to win more than we are risking. And let me just double check. I just want to see what the price was on Akhmat. So they were around evens starting price in this one. So a fairly strong favourite, not overly strong. But anyway, I mean, there's a lot of indication that we should definitely be laying this winning team right here. So we'll get involved. And of course, I mean, I don't have to lay them here at 1.87. I could put in an order, say just a bit lower, 1.75, and just put that in the market. Because I know that when the second half begins, this price is going to start to go down with the time value, and so I don't have to necessarily take the 1.87. I could get matched laying them at 1.75, maybe in the 50th minute or something like that. I could keep an eye on it. If it takes a while to get there, I can obviously change it. But again, why not just put the order in? You don't have to take the price that is available. More than likely, you're going to get matched at the order if you go just a few ticks down. So in this case, I'm going 10 ticks lower than the price that's on offer there. And we'll see. Hopefully, we should just get matched early on in the second half, and then hopefully then we should get the equalizer from Akmat. Let's see how this one plays out. So 56 minutes in, and the equalizer we wanted has just arrived, and it is now 1-1. The equalizer we were expecting came fairly early as well in the second half. So we can just press the cash out and then lock in a profit on this one. And then I'm just going to quickly give you some analysis on this as well. So we laid Ural 1.75, and the goal arrived 56 minutes. So it kind of shows you, I mean, we must have just got in there 1.75. As you can see, there's the £100 stake. It went as low as 1.73. But it does highlight, I mean, honestly, whenever I do this, I always just put in an order a little bit lower than whatever the price is there. And I very rarely ever miss out on the goal, on the equalizer arriving just before I get matched. I mean, it does happen from time to time, but there's just so many football matches, it doesn't really bother me. And like I always say, the fear of missing out is something where a lot of novice football traders, they go wrong with. You know, they want to try and get in the market as quickly as possible. But anyway, we'll save that information for another video. But yeah, so we got in at 1.75, the equalizer arrived, and the price on Ural has risen to 6.2. So very straightforward stuff. Very straightforward stuff there. And remember, our risk was £75. That was our maximum risk on this trade, and we've managed to lock in pretty much around £73. So almost 100% return on our risk. So not bad at all. And you can kind of see, I mean, we weren't watching the match, but it was a pretty well thought out trade, as in I showed you how the first half played out. I showed you that Ural, they were leading, but they weren't really the better team. And also the fact that we know that Ural haven't won many games recently away from home. Also added confidence and an indicator that we should get in the market. Anyway, this one, 58 minutes played, 1-1, and we've got a successful trade on this one. So here's a situation where the favourite is leading, Slovakia, home favourite. They're leading by a goal, 77 minutes on the clock, and their price is pretty short to lay. They're into 1.18 to back, 1.19 to lay. I did just lay them here at 1.2 with a £200 stake, so that gives me £40 worth of risk in this one, and mainly just because Slovakia looking a little bit nervous, and Hungary have actually been the better team in the second half in this one. So that's the sort of signs you need to look for when there is a favourite who's the home team and their price is pretty short. I mean, 1.18 is short enough. Let me just show you the chart as well. But yeah, I mean, despite Slovakia leading by a goal to nil, Hungary have been the better team in this second half. So we're in the market. We've got about 12 minutes left plus injury time to try and get an equaliser for Hungary. And so we've had a goal, but not the way we wanted it to go. So Slovakia have just doubled the lead. And here is a bit of an example of what I was talking about earlier on in the video. The price has gone straight in to 1.01. So there's nothing I can do now. Whatever money was in the market, that is now lost, which it does show the importance of measuring the risk, only putting in the market what you can afford to lose. And at the same time, it also shows why I wouldn't bother trading out if there was a 1-goal lead. I would be prepared for it to hit the 1.01 because of this scenario. I mean, I'm getting in the market knowing that if Slovakia doubled the lead, it's probably going to go to 1.01. So if they're going to hang on to a 1-goal lead until the 92nd, 93rd minute as well, I may as well just let that go to 1.01 as well. So nothing I can do at the moment. You never know. Hungary could turn it around and nick 2 goals in the late stages. Not very, very likely. But as it stands, I can't even trade out of this. So that's what you do need to be prepared for when you're laying the winning team. So this is Newport County against Middlesbrough from the FA Cup. Newport County leading Middlesbrough. They are a lower ranked team as well in a division below Middlesbrough. At least I think that's right. But the situation is that we had this marked down as we were expecting Middlesbrough to actually win this match. They were odds on favourites as well. And they started this match around 1.9 or something like that. But yeah, Newport County have taken the lead to a bit of a surprise. So this would be a good time to lay the winning team. However, we're not getting in the market just yet because Newport have taken the lead, but they're pretty dominant as well. So you wouldn't get in the market just yet, although Middlesbrough just had a chance, as you can see down there. But one of the key things when you are laying the winning team is you want to wait until the losing team is actually in the ascendancy and starting to look a little bit more threatening. And of course, by waiting, we should get a lower price on Newport as well. So we're going to wait and get involved in this one, and we're going to wait for the ideal opportunity to lay the winning team on this one. Currently, Newport County 1, Middlesbrough 0, 50 minutes, so plenty of time to go. So 10 minutes on from that, it is still 1-0 to Newport, and I still haven't got involved in the market. Newport available now to lay at 1.54. And I'll show you why I still haven't got involved in the market. Have a look at the stats, the in-play stats, and look who is dominating on the shots on goal anyway. Middlesbrough haven't even had a shot on target yet in this match. So of course, I mean, they could just score from their first shot on target. But when you're laying the winning team, you do want to pick your opportunities, and I want to wait until I at least see Middlesbrough do something in this match. And like I said, the longer I wait, the lower this price on Newport goes, the lower my risk is on the market. And it looks like Middlesbrough, are they going to get a chance here? I mean, they have started to push a little bit more, but they haven't carved anything out. So again, I'm just going to wait and wait and wait. And if I have to wait till the 90th minute and then nothing happens, then so be it. It saved me money. But it just kind of shows you that you get a lot of people who want to get involved with laying the winning team. Maybe before kickoff, I would have said, hey, I definitely want to lay Newport if they take the lead. But when you actually see the match play out and it plays out like this, and Middlesbrough haven't done anything yet, then I don't see any reason to lay the winning team. So I'm going to hang in there. It's, 63 minutes on the clock. Let's see how this develops. If you don't hear from me again, then you know that Middlesbrough haven't actually done anything in this match. And there you have it. I mean, it's just gone Newport County 2, Middlesbrough 0. So by watching the match and actually waiting for the opportunity, we've actually saved ourselves a fair bit of money there. If I laid Newport County, 1.65 after they scored the first goal, then I'd be staring at a loss because they've been by far the better team and there was absolutely no reason to lay them whatsoever. So before the match, I would have thought definitely if Newport take the lead, I definitely want to be laying them, but the match developed developed very differently from what I expected, and it was very clear if you were watching the match here. So in the end, we're not going to get involved. We're not going to get involved. It is a bullet dodged, you could say. Newport County now lead this match 2-0, 67 minutes gone. So here's a match from English League 2. It's Cheltenham against Northampton. Cheltenham are leading 1-0 at the moment. Now, I profiled this match before kickoff as being a potential Northampton win and a Cheltenham no win, as in I should probably lay Cheltenham. I can't see Cheltenham actually winning this match. So what I'm going to do is get involved now. Obviously going to lay Cheltenham. They are leading by a goal to 0. And I'm going to lay them here at 1.6. Now they've taken the lead. So they're leading by 1 goal. Their price is into 1.6 to lay. Now if I was to have laid them at kickoff at their starting price, I would have been laying them at around 3. So it's quite a big discount that you're getting just by having a little bit of patience. Now a lot of people might say, hey, I profiled Cheltenham and they're not going to win this match. So I'm just going to lay them at their starting price. Whereas with a little bit of patience, you could wait. If they take the lead, then lay them at a much, much lower price, much, much lower risk and a bigger reward. So I've got £60 of risk in the market and a potential £100 worth of profit. Where if I was to lay them at the price of 3, it would have been £200 of risk and a potential profit of £100. So anyway, we're in the market with this one. Cheltenham are leading by a goal to 0, 37 minutes on the clock. So we've got plenty of time to try and get the equaliser that we need. So here we are, it is 42 minutes on the clock and Cheltenham have just doubled the lead, so it hasn't gone to plan at all. So remember, we've got £60 of risk in the market, but we're going to exit now and take the red screen, which will bring down our actual loss on this to £44. So this is where a lot of novices will go wrong, because if they've entered when there's a 1 goal gap, if it goes to 2 goals, suddenly they'll start to be like, well, okay, I'm going to try and I may as well just hang in there, and you never know, they might bring it back to 2-2. But if you start doing that, then your discipline can just go all over the place. So you're better off just trying to have some sort of plan in place where you get involved, and it's just a one-goal strategy. So you get the equaliser, you take a profit. If they double the lead, you take your loss, and it will help you in the long term just to have that discipline and to be able to just get out of the market, minimise the loss as well. Because obviously, remember, we had £60 of risk in there, but we actually got it down to a £42 loss. And I have to also admit, hey, I have called this completely wrong. Like I said, I profiled this as I didn't think Cheltenham were going to win. Maybe they might not win, and it might still change, who knows. But this match has not played out how I was expecting. Cheltenham have gone 2 goals ahead, so I have to accept the loss and move on. So lock in the red screen and just move on to another trade. That is the best advice I can give you. So let's check out another example. So here's a match from League One, and this is Plymouth, who are leading now against Bristol Rovers. Now, I did profile this match beforehand as being a potential Bristol Rovers win, and also I made a note that I can't see Plymouth actually winning this one. So instead of laying Plymouth from the start, we've just waited until some sort of opportunity has arisen and Plymouth have taken the lead. Now, if I was to have laid Plymouth right at kickoff, I think it would have been around a 2.8 starting price to lay them at. But waiting for them to take the lead and then laying them, we've got quite a big discount on that. So I'm laying Plymouth here, 1.42, £100 stake, £42 of risk is in the market, and £100 of profit potential. 55 minutes on the clock. Let's see if we can get the equaliser in this one. So 72 minutes on the clock, and the equaliser that we were expecting has arrived from Bristol Rovers. So as you can see, I could cash out now for £68, but I'm just going to quickly show you something a little bit different. So if I just put in a bet of £12, we'll probably cover it. You know what, £11 might cover it as well. In fact, no, it won't. All right, let's not do that. Let's just put in £12. Let's stop messing around. So if I put in a bet of £12 on Plymouth at this price here of 4.7 or 4.8, obviously whenever you do this, it's going to be different odds, different calculations, so you've got to figure that out yourself. Now, if you look at this situation, now I'm pretty much break even or a scratch trade on Plymouth, but on Bristol Rovers, I'm going to win £88, or on the draw, I'm going to win £88. So if you look at the cash out is £70, so it's a bit of a nice boost on that. It's almost a 25% profit increase just by doing that, just by removing the risk. And this is something you can do if you've profiled the match like I have, as saying like, hey, I cannot see Plymouth winning this, so I'm going to lay them if they do take the lead at some point, and then if the equaliser arrives, I'm just going to remove all risk, because I've profiled this as Plymouth are not going to win the match. Now, obviously, look, if Plymouth do go on and win this, they win it 2-1, then I'm not going to take any losses. But at the same time, I wouldn't consider it a missed opportunity, because this is my forecast. I have to stick with my forecast. I've said, hey, Plymouth are not going to win, so I want to try and make a bit of extra money and almost a 25% increase by just removing the risk and then letting it run till the end of the match. And now a lot of novices obviously would just want to take the cash out, but as you get more and more advanced with your football trading, then these are the things you've got to look for. You've got to look to try and squeeze the extra profits out of the match. And what was funny about that clip just then was that, as I'm sure you noticed, was that Plymouth actually scored again to go 2-1 up just at the end of that clip. As you saw, the markets went suspended and then the goal went in. But here we are, 93rd minute, and Bristol have equalised. And as you can see, I just left it as it was. In those moments, you've got to just keep the faith. And I mean, the worst case scenario, if Plymouth did win, the worst case scenario is I'm going to win £3.60. So yeah, if you want to take this approach, that can happen, where the team, where you're going to say, hey, Plymouth aren't going to win, I'm just going to remove the risk on them, leave all the profits elsewhere, and that can easily happen. And yeah, literally just gone full time there as well. So yeah, that can easily happen, but it is worth it in the long term to try and squeeze out that extra profit from the market. As the saying goes, you have to race those winners. So it was quite funny that I was just talking about that, then the goal went in and then it went to 2-1. But here we are, 2-2 at the end of the match, and we still made that profit in the end. And if I didn't make that profit and Plymouth did win, then it wouldn't be the end of the world because there's no money lost at all. So yeah, good example there. Plymouth 2, Bristol 2, and it's an example of how we squeezed more profit out of the market. We made the £88 profit as opposed to the profit that was available immediately after the goal. So there's just another option of what you can do when you're laying the winning team and you want to cash out at the end of it, at the end of your trade. So here's a match. It's Real Sociedad against Levante from the Spanish La Liga. So we're going to lay the winning team. We're going to lay Real Sociedad in this particular situation, and they are a pretty short price favourite. Now this is one of those situations where I've just spotted this opportunity pretty much just from looking at the live pictures. Real Sociedad in this first half, they played very strong. As you can see, they're a strong favourite as well. Kicks off around 1.90, odds on favourite. And first half absolutely dominant, took the lead and they are leading, but second half has developed a little bit more differently, and Levante are looking likely to nick a goal. So this could be a pretty good opportunity because of the price on Real Sociedad is, well, they're currently 1.21 to lay, and it's been a pretty even second half. So this is one of those situations where pre-match stats and even the in-play stats, if I showed you the in-play stats right now, you'd see that it still shows that Sociedad are dominant, but it's just spotting an opportunity in play and spotting that Levante do look likely to nick an equaliser here. And it is pretty low risk. We're laying at 1.21. So I've just gone in a £200 lay. That gives me £42 of risk in the market. And we've got around 20 minutes to get an equaliser from Levante. And here we are, 79 minutes on the clock, and we just got the equaliser from a corner. I told you Levante were threatening. In the Spanish league, they do use VAR, so I'm going to wait until I actually see the players kick off again before I do anything on this market. But you can see that we laid 1.21, £200 stake, and the price on Sociedad has now gone up to 3.75. It's going to shoot around all over the place, and we should be able to lock in £132 profit. Bit of an injury, like I said, I'm not going to do anything until I see the match actually kick off once again. So yeah, I'll be back in just a moment. Well, as they say, better to be safe than to be sorry. So yeah, they've kicked off. It is definitely 1-1. There wasn't really anything wrong with the goal, but these days you just have to be careful. So I'm going to lock this in. We should have a profit of 139 locked in altogether on this one. 10 minutes left to play. Keep an eye on it, and there might be another opportunity to maybe even lay the draw late on. I mean, obviously, once you've got some green, I could go in. If I thought Sociedad were going to go for it in the late stages, I could put in another lay and use some of that green to create a bigger profit. Who knows? But anyway, we were in and out of the market. We laid Sociedad 1.21. It did look like Levante were going to get the equaliser. It doesn't always come, but if you spot these opportunities, and then these are definitely the most golden ones of all. So laid Sociedad 1.21, price went out to 4. We've locked in that profit all across the outcomes there. So yeah, game done, 9 minutes left. Real Sociedad 1, Levante 1. Trade done, rather. So we just got involved in this match here. This is Roma against Empoli. Roma are leading 2-1. We just laid them here at 1.2 for £100. So it's £20 risk in the market. And obviously, look, this is a strong favourite, Roma. And what's happened here? Is that a red card? Yep, a red card. Good timing there. So there's something in our favour. But anyway, Roma, pretty strong favourite before the match in this one. And they're about 1.6. We just laid them at 1.2. Now, obviously, the average novice football trader isn't really going to want to lay a winning team when it is such a strong favourite. But honestly, I mean, these can be some of the best opportunities. As I showed you, it's such a low risk lay here at 1.2, and with such a big upside. And as I spoke about in the beginning of the video, try and always make sure your upside is bigger than your downside when you're laying a winning team. And that's a much bigger upside. It's a £20 risk, potentially winning us 5 times that with £100. So I just want to show you, let's have a quick look at this. So let me just see it. If we look at the pre-match stats. Now, obviously, I've been watching this game and I've kind of seen that Empoli and Roma has been very even in the second half. And if we just look at the second half stats, you can actually see that Empoli, to be honest, have actually dominated the ball. 62% of the possession. Hasn't really been any goal attempts of note, but as touched upon, it is quite low risk and high reward. So, we're going to give it a go. And obviously the red card is definitely a lot more in our favour. You'd think Roma are going to try and sit back and try and defend this 2-1 lead. And we could have a good chance. So anyway, let's see what happens. This is an example of opposing a winning team who is a very strong favourite. Not something your average novice will do. Let's see how this one plays out. And the equaliser arrived in this one. However, I'm not going to cash this out just yet because there was a bit of an incident in the build-up to the goal. So I'm going to wait to see if this one goes to VAR. You can see the replay here. Looks like there was a handball, right? So we'll see what happens. We'll see if this goal stands or not. But if it does, you can see the cash out amount there. And for those who have traded football with VAR, you'd think, why am I not cashing out right now? Basically, if this goal gets chalked off, then Betfair are going to void the trade as they do, which makes me wonder why they don't just close the market in these particular moments. But I'm going to keep an eye on this, and then if the goal stands, then we'll be all green, and we'll have cashed this out. So the referee's just had a look. Let's see what he's going to do. He's given a free kick. So then the market suspend again, and there's nothing we can do right now. So that goal's been chalked off, and it's going to go back to being 2-1 to Roma. So, hey, I've almost got it right, but I haven't quite got it right here because the goal is not going to stand. But anyway, this could well be a losing trade. Let's see what happens. And that is probably going to be the last attack Empoli have had. And as you can see, the price has gone all the way down to 1.01. So you can't even get out of the market. In the end, I guess Roma are going to win this 2-1. But we had a good run for the money. I think the match, or the rest of the match, played out how I expected. Empoli were really pushing. Roma, in the end, hanging on. They were down to 10 men. And they needed VAR to save them on the equalising goal. So, in the end, we lost this trade. But remember, if we're risking the 20 to potentially win up to 100, then it's a pretty nice risk reward ratio. And I only need to get that right 1 every 5 trades or so to be in long term profit. So, quick example of laying the leading team when they are a strong favourite. Pretty eventful trade, but not a fruitful one in the end. So just following this match between Bristol City and Ipswich. Bristol City, pretty strong favourite. I think around 1.60 starting price. And they're leading 1-0. So this is one of those situations where we're going to lay the winning team, and it's a strong home favourite who is the winning team. This is obviously not something the average novice football trader would want to do. But there is a fair bit of reason to get involved in this. If we bring up how this match has developed, you can see that overall Ipswich have actually had a little bit more of the possession, and not only that, they've also had more attempts that have been on target. Now, Bristol have had more attempts overall, but Ipswich have had actually more attempts on target. And in the second half, it's also carried on in that vein. Ipswich dominate in the second half so far, so you would think that something is not quite right, and maybe Bristol City are a little bit too short at the moment to be priced at 1.23, and there could be an Ipswich equaliser in the offing, which we could hopefully profit from. I just want to quickly, while we're there, look at Bristol City's recent home form as well, which isn't great. They've lost their last 3 home matches in a row. Now, I don't think it's too much better for Ipswich. They haven't really done much themselves. But again, something's not quite adding up, and it doesn't really look like Bristol City should be as low as 1.21 as they currently are. And there is around 27 minutes left to play in this one. So I got involved. I've laid them with a £200 stake. That gives me only £46 of risk in the market. So anyway, we'll see how this one develops. It's currently Bristol City 1, Ipswich 0, 63 minutes on the clock. Oh, well, we didn't have to wait long for that one. A pretty spectacular own goal just scored by Bristol City. I wish there was a little clip that I could show you on this video. But yeah, we've got the equaliser pretty quickly after we entered the market. So I mean, it was a well thought out trade in my view. I gave you plenty of reasoning for why I was opposing Bristol City in this particular scenario. Just didn't think that price looked right. They looked too short compared to how the match was actually developing. So it's just gone 1-1. Remember, we laid Bristol City 1.23 with a £200 stake. So it's £46 of risk in the market, and after the goal the price has risen up to 3, and we've managed to lock in £118 altogether. Just rough maths, I don't know, it's around a 300 or 400% return on your investment, but you can see the move there. So I mean, these are the golden opportunities to look out for when you do get a winning team that is a strong favourite who is just not performing like a strong favourite really should. These are the great opportunities to look for. So yeah, a winning trade. We got there nice and early as well. So there we have it. 69 minutes gone. Bristol City 1, Ipswich 1. So that's just about it for all those live trading examples there. And as you saw, waiting for lower prices, using match reading, using even the live in-play stats as well, and not being afraid of opposing the favourite. They can all be very profitable, can definitely help you with this approach to trading football. So I'm very sure that you're going to feel a lot more confident about this approach right now. Now, if you do want a more advanced strategy when it comes to laying the winning team, then do check out Relay Reloaded. That is inside the Ultimate Football Trading video course. It is actually my favorite strategy from the whole portfolio. And as I said, the doors are opening again very soon. So do check out the links in the description to apply and see if you can get involved in that when general enrollment does arrive. And also, while you're there, if you haven't got it yet, then do grab this freebie, the 7 steps to football trading success. I've had a lot of good feedback about this. A lot of people have said it's been very useful for them, especially those who are just starting out with football trading. It's absolutely free to download. The link is in the description, and you can grab that too if you haven't grabbed that already. So anyway, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more sports trading videos, more football trading videos just like this, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell so you're the first to know about all these videos when they do come out. Yeah, hit the subscribe button. Also on this page you're going to see some links to some other videos that you should definitely check out too. So check those out, and I will see you in the next video.